Sorry. Shili here with Sirius Talis Moon. Moon day, moon hour. The moon is in the sixth house, 18 degree. Hmm. This is where. Okay, I want to talk about something. Um, let's just put it that way. Uranus is in Gemini, meaning that astrology is becoming applied. And I love that timing for Uranus because it means that people are going to actually use astrology for designing a house, for picking an election to invest in the markets, or and this is why I say try to do the first term of Gemini as if it is the second. And I'm really thankful to those in spirit or in astral that reminded me, hey, Sheila, remember your advice of doing because the first term has a sense of whatever works. Or we don't know what works, so we might get confused about the good and bad. And this is where like set intention to do it as do it with Jupiter. And um another thing that is happening with the spirit of the time, we are around a change of currency. It's not just financial, it's not just technological or industrial revolution. It's a change of currency. A change of currency is code red for world doom. Okay? It's not world doom, but it is world wars. And and this means that this is a timeline where people, okay, go through stuff. Um, Around COVID, I began the minute I was consulting on small issues with astrology. I had a very, very minor product because I was limiting my service to what I absolutely have got a clue about, which means very tiny readings, and then I would learn through the people that came to me for consultation and began to expand that. So the great thing about Uranus Gemini is it's the small decisions. Uranus can become extremely practical. Astrology can become extremely practical. It's also applied astrology. We're going to see it when Mars and Uranus are going to meet. Um, Around COVID, here is what I got. People noticed that I learned that I know a little bit of astrology, and because I'm a curious person that is passionate about what they're doing, they were like, "Oh, surely where is safe to live?" And I'm like, "I know this person is asking me this because they have lethal degrees in the chart, and I know that I can't take that. I don't feel comfortable on consulting on these type of life and death issues. Much more ethical was for me to do water expands upon cooling, which was addressing cases where a person was already there was already an issue. When I myself was in life risk and I went to another place, there was an added layer of life risk. I'm not saying that people cannot accentuate on something that, let's say, if somebody lives on their planet of the 22 line, then, um, for example, I was living around the Pluto Mars line when there was the second Intifada. I grew up mostly around my Mars Pluto line. Then I moved to the Moon Pluto line. And then I was going to another Moon Pluto in my other home country. So core issues about birthing, housing, fertility, caregiving, and so on and so forth. It was also a political issue with the caretaker prime minister when I was in Netherlands. It was not something that I felt. It's like I was basically in between houses there. So so this is something that I can say is, and another thing is that Pluto in the sign of Aquarius definitely is. We in applied form see the J.P. Morgan's, or we see the discussion of astrology and billionaires and so on. Millionaires don't work with astrology, billionaires do, and yet we see the J.P. Morgans also come into fruition in the Epstein dossiers. And there they also worked with astrology. Okay, for example, the live, one of the moments of my podcast is the live where when I research the research live with me, where I research the Islamic golden ages, and then I see astrology was developed with astronomy to use in ritual. That's basically the ritual abuse, elections. And this is okay. And when I addressed the wound around the secret society in astrology, the wound around MK often in the astrology and occult. So the calling to do mundane astrology is probably there for people that have their significant Plutos. Uranus Pluto combination, and it can be Pluto in Aquarius, Pluto in aspect to Uranus. For example, I got the calling when Uranus and Aries were squaring Pluto. And I saw world wars and cold wars and the so at the same time the calling is going to be there for people. I know that my channel is not big, but the let's just say that pebble is that pebble dropped in the water is having a lot of effect, even when we don't see it. The fact that I have 33 subscribers, okay, um, yes, people with 33 in the life path or whatnot. Um, and no, I'm not, how should I say, I never administered to a secret society. Um, I just want to make it, I just want to make it incredibly clear. I think people that saw my Spirit of Matter channel saw the real stuff. Also on this channel, but they saw, and I have I have Jupiter point of Taurus on Beechwood. I have Sirius Taurus Moon. I have Sirius on Beechwood. Rockefeller Astral Links on Beechwood. We don't. How should I say that? These types of discussions, if I somehow made it look more, and I think that I continuously emphasize things, but I think if I might have somehow made it look easier than it is. If I did, I really don't get how, because because I went through so much, and I think that the risk of people not believing what I say that I went through is that they are going to try and do mundane astrology, and whether it is with the astrocartography of where would a missile drop. Uranian astrology was also used for that. I was on basically a testing course for Michael A. Bryan for his Uranian astrology courses. Weird things started to happen, okay? He was teaching me numerology, and then he was this Saturnian person that says no, it's no way that people don't know how to computate, and it was like believe in yourself, never say this, and then he started having weird computational issues. And then he's like such a Saturnian person, and I could not be held accountable to schedule because I was beginning to go through some sort of torture. Um, Well, me, I was planning to grow my business and take his course paid. And I was planning to take a lot of courses paid. I just wanted to treat the fact that they were going to regulate astrology because I have seen what is going to happen. I have the brand deals of patenting astrocartography, which can tomorrow be patenting astrology. I have seen trajectories, and people thought I'm going against the community. No, 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 no. I was not being paid for courses, giving astrology readings for free, inviting people to buy courses from my teachers. Because I knew after the Me Too, I wasn't going to get a training route that could be rubbing shoulders with the Epsteinis. And I did want to contribute to the people that I learned from. Now, when we talk mundane astrology, and we talk life and death or military conflict astrology, even finances astrology, I don't want to make it look like it's easier than what it looks like. Okay? The risk of not believing me when I was just if a person there was a joke I used to have when I was around people. We would go to a place and there would be, let's say, beware a step. So it was like if you watch the person fall on that step, why if I would fall or I would tremble on that step, I was like, whoop, beware a step. Beware there is something, and I'm trying to raise that flag now. Okay, caution. Yes, I believe the Iranians like I believed Hitler if I was Stalin. And vice versa, and vice versa. Anyway. Yeah, they shot two missiles and they're done. This, do we have election for fake peace agreement? Because Uranus is still conjoined in Sedna, which is treason. And Mercury is 18 degrees, kind of like ruling over the peace stuff. Yes, yes, whatever it is, yes. Something, things I can say about food, but not in the bedroom. And I'm like, surely, why not in the bedroom if it's with the person that you are that you have more with, and so on and so forth. Yes, you know the kind of people I have more with. Oh my god. That the moon is on 18 degree without telling that the moon is on 18 degree. um, and oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. um, everything is fine. Nothing is under control. Yeah, the moon trines Lilith. Um, at any case, I'm saying that because as terrible as it is to feel, I don't know, isolated or disbelieved, or even when people make it a show that they pretend to not believe or whatnot, nothing is more evil than people not believing me and trying it for themselves without believing me fully and making an informed decision. Okay? Oh my God. In all of my emotional wounding, I really am, bumping entire humanity is more humane. Um, so I'm not here to scare anybody because I think that those topics need to be addressed. They need to be discussed. I'm just saying, pay attention. Look at my Spirit of Matter channel. Look at Rockefeller Astrolink. Look at, you see me breaking down there. You see me going through Astral Rape live. You hear the podcast. You see me wondering which of my colleagues went through ritual abuse. Okay, because people see me talking about Aries and it's like, yeah, Aries is the cloning project. No, there is something behind these conversations. Don't take my Scorpio stellium for overnight, because I see people, I see rising stars, I see people that I appreciate, I see people that know astrology better than me when it comes to um, many other types of astrology, venturing into the obvious. And it's obvious that when people have the calling, it's probably timely in their chart. It's probably something that is sparking that. Um, all of my episodes are a must watch before anything. Whatever you think about me, okay? Whatever you project onto me, I want you dealing with that consciously on dry, and even watching my episodes can be putting people in risks, okay? Dealing with that on dry, whatever you project onto me, whatever you think about me, whatever Whatever you think about what I'm saying, dealing with that on dry, I cannot stress how remedial it would be. And my channel is not monetized. Not only am I not making any money from this, it's exposing me to risk that you're even watching my content. Now, I did not grow a 7, 8, 9, 10 figure business. And you know what? I wish each and every person to grow to that 10 figure, zero rape, zero trafficking. But a lot of people venture into that territory with families, with businesses, with partners. Please make sure make sure you listen to, even try to watch some of my episodes and see how it goes. Just watch and see how it goes, because um, I have been tending to the core of 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 the core, and consistently through torture. I see a lot of you, and when I see a lot of you giving good content, true content, not bot content, not compromised content, this is what prompts me to press record. You're venturing into the zone of the deep state. It's not a fictional entity. Okay? If you ain't got JFK since you were in high school, then I want you to take a good look at my channel and see how do you make the discernment, because particularly those of you that have the leveling up, that have the businesses, that have the figures, that have the households, the families, the partners, the wealth consolidation. Okay? How to yes. First of all, know all the things that I was talking about. Dropping the Peter ring is not just, oh, Shirley sings drop the Peter ring in an erotic voice, because that is coming out of something. I know y'all been seeing stuff, okay? A lot of you been seeing, oh, that person's talk, that entity talks. But that entity is an international military organization. Y'all been hearing laser focused, direct for maze. And a lot of you may have been even, some of you have been craving that, some of you have been observing that. But what I'm most concerned about is that some of you have been lighthearted about that, not identifying that my lightheartedness is juxtaposed with beyond humane level of traumas. You have seen me humiliated. You have seen me degraded. You have seen me going through rape, with astral rape broadcasting live. You have seen how every single thing that I was doing was casted upon to be looking ridiculous or funny. You have seen me addressing the things that are going to spark the entire community looking at me like, what? And that was the right decision because had I not called to declassify MK often again and connected to the Epstein dossiers, a lot of you would be rubbing shoulders with things that would put you on the guillotine. I addressed literally my family in Netherlands before Pluto ingress and say, drop the cult, drop the secret societies if you can. Nothing that they talk about is conspiracy. The cover, the way the people cover that, yeah, they may be psyops, they may be, but nothing there is conspiracy. It's not some added value that I add over my so-called figure business that y'all worked hard to get to. You went through it, and the working hard is not just the grind, it's the psychological shadow working. Okay, that doesn't, how should I say that, it's not an, oh, what is my what are the things that I learned about people that speak up, or people that make money, or people that are visible. No, 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 no. And I'm here to tell you two things. One, if you're venturing into these topics, it's a calling. You probably wouldn't be doing that. You wouldn't be mentioning that if it wasn't some sort of a Pluto transit, nodal something. There's something there. And look at the people that ventured there before you. Okay? In I was never a pilot, but I learned from pilots that ya ain't gonna live long enough to learn from all of the mistakes by yourselves. Okay, this is why it's important to watch my channel. I'm not monetized. I don't make a single penny out of this. In fact, they try to cut every single. And so the good news, you're called to do that. The bad news, you're called to do that. Protect yourself. And don't think, how should I say that? Your goal is to not play to the logic of extortion cults. It means not to sacrifice and not to dehumanize at the same time. When you're going through rape, it's very difficult to not dehumanize. I love watching the people that talk about it. Okay? I love watching your content. I enjoy when somebody else talks about all these things. Not because of, but I don't want you to take it lightly, thinking that, oh, it's just another topic of astrology. United States and Israel just merged armies. It's not impossible that certain unsolicited material of me in my own apartment is tainted, not under any job, was used in all kinds of things without not my informed consent and not my consent. And when somebody begins to post content and I ask them, what about the breeding farms? What about the MK often? It's not to gatekeep, it's not to demote, it's not to challenge. It's because I know that if you're not tending to this now, it's going to tend to you without you knowing what is tending to you. That's what it happened to me for quite some time. This Venupiter around Procyon, everybody, oh, it's the best week of. No, it's not. The juncture of world peace or world war, of decolonizing from within in order to decolonize from outside, that's not an easy. Procyon is not an easy planet, even without the outer aspects. It's like, oh, the two benefic meets on. Fuck that. Not in mundane astrology. Yeah, I want to get married. Even if on a personal level, because it's two personal planets. Is it a good time to plan a visit somewhere? I can't tell you that it's bad, okay? It is the two benefics and so on and so forth. If you're JFK, you can have a wonderful meal. But you gotta be JFK to do that. You gotta be Nelson Mandela to be there. I know right now it's on the media heaven of Israel. You gotta be the person that knows that is not afraid of a world war and thus is not afraid of world peace. This is why when I saw there was a secretary general with that placement and all the other prime ministers with that placement. I was like, okay, it's good for the spirit of the time, but I also understood what is the spirit of the times. People were slaughtering me with criticism when I talked about the new, back then, head of NATO. And I looked at that Procyon and I said, and then all of the smear campaigns compounded into dropped Peter rings. And you say, surely, but they could be a part of. Speak to yourself in structure before you speak to me about names. You know what it takes to drop a Peter ring? And we are heading to the next wave of the breeding farms? I'm not going to tell you about the introductions. um, more things that I can say about this. Be willing to address the core issues and know that those core issues are non-negotiable. Zero rape, zero trafficking, zero ritual abuse is non-negotiable. On a national, international, and don't be afraid to venture into that conversations. Astrology as a context. You're not going to protect your freedom of speech by by providing no actual the life and death significant value, and that ventures you into JFK. Is the world ready for world peace? If not, don't try to force world peace. That's how Rabin got assassinated. Some would say even JFK. Rabin was not Sadat. And what was underneath? No, when infants are born in breeding farms to be tortured and kept in tortured so they will be too mind controlled to, that doesn't sustain peace and never will. Not when it's done to cattle either, vegan or not. It's reality. Orgasmic birthing timelines negate breeding farms. Oh, the world need to change dramatically. Good morning. The world is changing its currency. There is nothing more dramatic than a currency change in the history of anything. Yeah, folks been talking about politics, been talking about currency, been talking about all these things. And I know that because I have been there, but I have been there on food stamps, half suicidal, healing from the will to kill myself, as I was healing from y'all doing that on businesses that run businesses. I've been there child free and I've suffered losses in lives. In those type of junctures, a person is too dissociated from the sense of self to even understand what is going on. I have been on a trajectory of developing methods to curate from PTSD and CPTSD on multiple decade basis. Okay? Different trajectories, y'all venturing into the core of cores on a, and usually it's, of course, it's when people are leveling up. Okay? There were things just when I was doing water expands upon cooling. There were things that I didn't know about the industry of true crime. Then then somebody was trying to, and then I was like, no, 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 and they caught that I have this, that I would rebel if somebody would try to put a constraint on me, and then they were like, yeah, we're doing the same thing, and I was like, oh, 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 thank you, no, no, thank you, you're right, no, and then I did still dedicated episode to the missing people. Okay, until they went way on me, I didn't get it. And he said, Shirley didn't get what the fuck. Have mercy. my my talisman chain just tore. So I'm going to, what's happening? I'm gonna put this through this. Yep, or is it working? I don't know. I'm just gonna put this like that. Literally tore the minute I said this. Okay, there there are people that I have triggers even trying to speak to over nothing. It's just something triggered something, and then and then people may think that I'm a snob or that I don't want to talk to them, or like, the fuck do people even okay? And no, it's not venturing into these topics at these times without addressing the breeding forms, ritual abuse, the Epstein infiltration of the intelligence, and the connection to the currency, the currency, the currency, the currency, the currency. Okay, I'm not saying tone it down. Absolutely not. You probably are called to tend to these things. I'm just saying, please watch how the people that ventured into that before you absorbed the and what they tended to, and also understand that this is not a content creation competition. When you're venturing into this territory, you're not breadwinning for your family. It's something beyond. And if you're breadwinning for your family and you're compromising all these things that I said, those things are going to strike your family. And you're going to be called the traitor for not addressing them. After the Epstein files dropped, people were like, yeah, people could have told, people could have sent a note, people could have. When all of these things were Eminem dropped me, what else did people need? Me addressing the structure of what creates a Peter Ringer and what are the junctures. It's saying no to organized crime because trafficking also targets the children, even when it's so called just drug trafficking. It's used in those rings, and children are bred for that. That was Gladio. And if people think that they can find their way within those Gladio lines as Gladio is dissolving, taking a growing business into these topics is venturing into the North Sea. Now, the Huguenots and the Calvinists, they were escaping the Inquisition. To abolish Inquisition, we need to abolish rape within. That's Procyon. I wasn't talking about changing Genesis over nothing. The Huguenots changed the scripture, they didn't change Genesis. It's not something we can, when I was studying filmmaking, we studied about Groucho Marx. And there are many things with wicked Groucho Marx about. And Groucho Marx had a sentence, he had a saying that said, if you don't like my opinions, I have other opinions. You could do that in World War II. You could not do that in Vogue. Either you looted the Spanish banks from the silver and not the people, or you were drowned in the North Sea. That's Dana Balgadi. I know. I was homeless in Netherlands with Dana Balgadi. What more can I say? Look, around the Me Too, I had a case where somebody was reading my speech on the structure of academia. It was back then, and two academic people, were inspiring that conversation. One talked about the patriarchal structure of academia. Um, was another person speaking about the structure. That person gave me way too many clues that I didn't understand. He was talking about politicians. He said, I questioned their species, and I thought that he was joking. But the superhuman project tried to create another species, or the Übermensch project. So there was a person that was reading me, and for some godforsaken reason got the idea to litigate the academia and the offender. I don't know what was the god for, and they pretty much they won the image on the lawsuit, which is better than winning the lawsuit. But then the ritual abuse topic came, and the structural issue around ritual abuse. Now their family, the people that have helped them, were infused with certain societies that, let's say, are for profitable cities, while saying that they are against the sex for promotion type of, which is human trafficking, which is profitable cities. That person pretended they don't know what I'm talking about and then blocked me because it so called risked their lives. That was the person that I was trying to help with the campaign to raise funding to appeal to the Supreme Court. Knowing the people were not scared of her, they were tending to me. Because it's like that person, they wanted on, fortunately, I have 2 points of talents which are corruption alleviation. Now Saturn squares them both, and whoop, Venus, Jupiter meet around Procyon. On the midheaven of Israel, squaring Spica and squaring Andromeda. Where my midheaven would be the point of Dallas between Spica and Aries right now. Shifting what's behind the all-seeing eye is it's not for the faint of heart. All of this happens after I said, my legacy is laden. I don't. I was just thinking, oh, there could be a fun project to do, art inspired by the charts of creation of the universe, and it was like, yeah, the Renaissance art was like, oh, we're 2 meters from a Renaissance, speaking in decades, and I was shown the Medici's and so on and so forth. Okay, so I don't know what to tell you. What would I do if I would have an already well consolidated enterprise at these times? I would do. I'll tell you what I tell to enterprises and corporations before Uranus ingress into Gemini. Human rights are going to be a blue ocean, but the businesses that would sustain, don't do the mistake of Nike. Nike faced the controversy over slavery in their shoe factories. The first, it took the first. Everybody was doing slavery. Nike took the boom. Then he had to adapt. Adapt to human rights ahead of time. Provide human rights from the mining of the minerals to the external product, to the currency. לא כרגע, לא כרגע, לא כרגע. Aldebaran and those business examples, okay? Nike is the perfect business example because it was catching the boom of the abolishing of slavery, almost took down the company. I'm giving you life-saving information right now. You're not gambling on a sinking ship. You're seeing the thread. It's the once in a millennia that the broken clock is correct. And I know a lot of you are seeing that, and a lot of you are called for that, and I'm fascinated by your content creation, and I love seeing your growth, and I love seeing your channels. Yeah. Um, now, if people are married or are in a relationship, um, I want you to please, please, please understand that this is a level where people are going to, they are going to have honeypots attacks on both of you. Okay, when I did Water Expands Upon Cooling, the show, it was inspired from the person was living in a non-monogamous relationship. Again, I don't know, I'm not addressing the dark stuff right now because first of all, I don't know to what extent and everything, and the dark stuff I address on a structural level because the structure of what creates it and what alleviates this is the issue rather than not rather than glorification or smear campaigns. Um, you know that when if I said a name, it's because I was at the time of torture. And then I lapsed back and said, okay, but this is the structure. And they